Welcome back, hustlers, and in today's video we're going to discuss tariffs. So I think we need to start where it began, and that is Monday 3rd of March. The US informed everyone that they will be charging tariffs on 10% of Chinese goods and 25% of goods from Mexico and Canada. And the stock market has responded. The S&P is down 1.7%, the lowest that it's been this year, and all other stocks are also down, even our beloved Joby and Archer Aviation. So is this a time to panic? Do we all need to sell up shop? Stick around for this video and we're going to do an in-depth analysis of both companies and see what the effects of these tariffs may have on them. And I've also got a post from Adam Goldstein giving us a bit more information. So make sure you stick around for that, and we'll cover that later on in the video. So first up, we need to discuss both of these companies. They are set up slightly differently. So Joby Aviation is set up and it's vertically integrated, meaning that they cover all bases from design all the way through to the build, meaning that they will build their own battery packs, rotors, even the software for the S4. This does insulate them and reduce the amount of risk that they are exposed to when it comes to things like tariffs and externalities with the supplier line. However, they're not 100% immune. What we need to remember is that the raw materials are sometimes cheaper from countries like China, Mexico or Canada. The lithium and the raw iron material for the rotors can come from China, as they have very competitive costs. So this means that Joby are not 100% insulated. But the level of exposure that Joby are exposed to is very minimal, because it's just the raw material cost and it's not the cost of the entire component. Archer Aviation, they've gone with a much more traditional method. And this traditional method means that they outsource a lot of their components in order to build the Midnight aircraft. This is very risky when it comes to items like tariffs, because if any of these components are being built in Mexico, Canada, or even China, you could be adding 10 or 25%. And imagine the extremities where a component costs $100,000 and now it's gone up 25%. That's now $125,000. 2 or 3 of these components will end up raising the price significantly. And we don't know what deals they have already in place with Abu Dhabi Aviation and seeing whether they will be able to bear this cost. I think we all know that oil money usually doesn't mind spending a few pounds in order to get what they want. And I imagine there will be deals in place, because it's not the first time that we've heard of this word tariffs. It's actually one of the main points Donald Trump raised in a lot of his debates whilst becoming the US president. So should we panic about these tariffs? This might be a small stumbling block along a long path, but we need to make sure that we take a step back. These companies are experts in their field, and they will be able to navigate these rough waters. I'm going to show you a post from Adam Goldstein and we'll discuss what we think this means. So on this post, Adam Goldstein mentions lots of talk about tariffs right now. Understand there are pros and cons, and appreciate the macro goal of the administration. Our team has worked super hard from a sourcing perspective to minimize our exposure, and the good news is we don't foresee any material impacts from the tariffs being discussed on China, Canada and Mexico. We'll continue to keep a close eye on the situation. So for all of you Archer investors out there, this probably alleviates your worries. But we do need to remember that Adam is very good at PR, and this was the perfect time to release it on March the 7th, last Friday. It helps reduce the fear with us investors, because we do know that they are much more exposed than Joby. And I just want to say, and I don't want to always bring it back to this, but this is another example where Adam Goldstein seems to have a good feel, or he has his finger on the pulse of what the investors want to know and want to hear. There was obviously a bit of fear earlier on in the week, knowing that the business type and business model of Archer and how they could be affected by these tariffs. And all it took was just one tweet or one post on X, and the next thing you feel like a lot of us will be feeling a lot more relaxed. Now, if we compare this to Joby, I don't even just keep bringing it back to Joe Ben. I want to say the whole Joby team. I feel like they can take a leaf out of Archer's book for future problems that they might face. I know in this instance, I don't think Joby have too much to worry about. I feel like they are set up so well with their vertically integrated model, and I feel like investor confidence is always going to back them, especially when things like this happen. And you can see why it's such a good model, because they have insulated themselves from so much risk. But it just goes to show one little post on X can go so far, and it can really alleviate the amount of stress that we're seeing, because it feels like we're getting a little view behind the curtain, and we're getting to know, don't panic, because that's one thing that we all do. It's very similar to our chat. One person posts something, the next person reacts to it, and then you have this avalanche effect. Now, if you are interested in Joby and Archer, and you want to see more of the financial side and the effect that these tariffs could have, make sure you give this video a watch, where I do a deep dive into the financials and compare Joby and Archer, and let's see which one is best. Till next time, I've been Reese.